What's up, y'all? This is Marcus Sniffles, Colts fan, NFL expert, and we're gonna go over some of the key free agents that the Colts have. We're also gonna kind of review Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard's pre-combine interview that they gave a few days ago. But before we get into that, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. We're trying to grow a community over here for Colts fans and sports fans, NFL fans, all those people, everybody that wants to, enjoy this content or whatnot. So if you guys could do that, I'd really appreciate it. We actually just got to 700 subscribers last night. So I appreciate everybody that has already subscribed to the channel. But if you know someone that's a Colts fan, send them this channel. If you know someone that's a football fan, send them this channel. And if you know anybody, just send them this channel so we can get those subscriptions up. So I appreciate that.
We make the f***ing rules this time. No more talk. Just win. Let's go.
Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! Anthony Richardson.
So I went to Sports Track, and I'm not going to go through every single free agent that the Colts have because the Colts have a few. I'm just going to hit the main ones. And we're going to start with Ryan Kelly. And I kind of like how this website, how Sports Track does their free agency, because they'll show you, the player's name, what kind of free agent they are, the age, how many years they have, and they'll show you their market value. So it'll kind of give you an idea of what they're expected to be paid next year. Now, for me personally, I still think Ryan Kelly can produce and be a Pro Bowl level starting center for this team. But I also believe in, kind of a youth movement for the offense, because I do believe that the relationship between the center and the quarterback, they should kind of match. That timeline should kind of be on the same track. They should both be young and grow together, because they have a lot of responsibility for the offense. Obviously with the quarterback calling plays, calling out protections, the center also does that kind of stuff too. They also have to call out the formation, call out the protection, call out blitzes. Where's the mic at? The center has to do a lot of things. And Ryan Kelly has done that for the majority of his career at a high level. And I'm a fan of Ryan Kelly. He's the oldest. he's the last Ryan Grigson player left from that era. So would I be fine with them keeping him? Yeah, I'd be fine. But if it was up to me, I think I would move on and insert Tanner Bortolini into his spot. Now, is Tanner as good as Ryan Kelly? Obviously not, but he can grow into being a starting level center, and he can grow along with Anthony Richardson. And you have Tanner next to Quentin Nelson and Will Fries on both ends that can kind of relieve a little bit of the pressure on him and what his responsibilities are. So I guess as we go through this, I'm going to say yay or nay on the free agents that I would like the Colts to keep or let move on. And with Ryan Kelly, I'm going to say let him walk. And this is not saying that Ryan Kelly is bad. I think if Ryan Kelly leaves, every team that needs an offensive lineman, that needs a center or even a guard, should make the call to Ryan Kelly if they're not going to, be able to draft the guy. But Ryan Kelly, still able to play, still able to be productive, would be a starting center on damn near any offensive line in the NFL. The next one we're going to talk about is going to kind of be a group think. It's going to be Mo Alley Cox and Kylan Granson. If you've been subscribed to this channel a while, you know how I feel about Kylan Granson. I don't think he's good. I don't know what he's good at. He's not fast. He's not big. I don't think his hands are reliable. And he doesn't seem to be in the right place at the right time ever. If you look at Anthony Richardson's interceptions, most of the ones that he threw that were targeted to Kylan Granson were Kylan Granson's fault. Like either he dropped the ball or just ran the wrong route or didn't make a play on the ball. And I think the way that I judge our free agent players is if these guys were free agents, how many teams would want them? Like how many teams? Like if you were to search Kylan Granson or Mo Alley Cox on Twitter, put free agent. How many teams, how many fan bases are like, oh, I want that guy. He's a free agent. Our team needs to get him. Now, Mo Alley Cox is still a great run blocker, a good pass blocker, but he is one of the slowest tight ends I've ever seen in my life. He's just super slow footed. You would think a guy that used to play basketball would be a little bit quicker, be a little bit more athletic. He just doesn't have that for me. And he's getting up there in age. He's over 30 already. So Mo Alley Cox, I'm saying he can go. Kylan Granson, obviously, I wanted him to go 2 years ago. Like, I have not been a fan of his stint as a Colt from damn near day one. I just am not a fan of the way he plays. Next, quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, Sam Ehlinger. Sam, go. Like, whatever. You haven't played. You haven't shown anything. Texas quarterback, get away. Joe Flacco, I'm fine with him leaving also. I just don't think he fits the offensive scheme. I don't think he played as well as his numbers show. If you actually watch the game, you can tell that Joe Flacco was not an upgrade and he didn't play better than Anthony Richardson last year. And he's 40 years old. Like, enough. Like, move along. Send him. Let Cleveland get fooled by him again. You know, like, there's no reason to bring Joe Flacco back. I think one of the big name free agencies that is up there, at least for us, is EJ Speed. And I've watched a few videos on YouTube about potential free agents and who their best fits for. And, you know, the free agency positional ranks, like they'll get all the offensive linemen and rank them, the linebackers rank them, running backs rank them, etc. And I looked at a video that was ranking all of the free agent linebackers. EJ Speed's name was not there. Like, it just was. It's almost like he doesn't exist. I'm curious to see what they have his market value at. I'm gonna just tap on his real quick. Okay, yeah, $5.4 million a 2 year. So pretty much another prove it deal. So I personally do not want EJ Speed back. I just don't think him and Zaire Franklin really fit together as a duo. Like, EJ Speed isn't really good in pass coverage. I feel like he misses a lot of tackles, and he makes a few plays here and there, but he's just not as consistent. And having one inconsistent linebacker is one thing. Having two of them, it ain't gonna work. So if they were to bring back EJ Speed, they would have to bring in competition. Like, it would have to be, all right, we're gonna re-sign EJ Speed for a prove it deal. We're going to draft a linebacker like in the second or third round, and we're going to bring in a free agent linebacker. That would be the only way I would want them to bring back EJ Speed. And that's it. Like, bring him back, but bring him back with competition. It ain't going to be EJ Speed is coming back and you're the automatic day one starter. No more of that. Like, we are holding these players accountable. At least that's what Ballard says. And we're going to get to that towards the end of the video. Next person we got, Julian Blackmon. He kind of falls under that same blanket as EJ Speed. Now, Julian Blackmon was hurt last year, and he played fine. But something that always kind of sticks to my head when thinking about him is last offseason, he was a free agent, and he went to the Bills. They had that whole stint where it's like, all right, well, let's see if we can work out a deal in Indy. They couldn't, come up with anything. So he was just a free agent, go out there, see what you can find. And he went out, he had one meeting with the Bills, and they didn't sign him. And so he came back to us and we signed him for a 1-year deal. And the fact that Buffalo looked at him, and Buffalo is a great team. They're a really good defense. And they looked at Julian Blackmon and they're like, nah, we don't want you. And I feel like if a good team doesn't want you to play on their defense, then why should we want you to play on our defense? Like, the Bills still rolled out DeMar Hamlin out there. And DeMar Hamlin is literally a corpse out there. Like, DeMar Hamlin is not a good safety. And they looked at Julian Blackmon and were like, you know what? We'll take the guy that died on the field over you. So it'll be the same thing with Julian Blackmon. I'm going to actually look at what his market value is. And it's about the same as EJ Speed, like pretty much a prove it. It'll be a little bit more than a prove it deal, but not a lot of money. So it would be the same thing as far as with Blackmon. You can bring back Julian Blackmon, but it's got to be, okay, at 14, we're drafting a safety, the kid from Georgia or the kid from Notre Dame. We're drafting a safety, and we're bringing in a free agent safety, and you can come in and we'll bring you back. But it's got to be we'll bring it back with competition. So if I had to say yes or no, I'd say no for him. So far, we got a no for Kelly. no for Mo Alley Cox, no for Colin Granson, no for Joe Flacco, no for Sam Ellinger, no for EJ Speed, and no for Julian Blackmon. Okay, I'm pretty much either the greatest GM or just a tough grader and the worst GM. I don't know, but a lot of no's here. It's the year of the no this season. I'm tired of just bringing back average, mediocre players. So the next player I kind of want to go over, Mark Glowinski. Now, Mark Glowinski, even though he's older than Ryan Kelly, he's got more experience. As a depth piece, like if he comes in as a backup and he can just fill in holes for injuries, obviously he's not going to get like a large contract. He's going to probably get a 1 or 2 year deal. I would be fine bringing him back just because I know how important it is to have a good offensive lineman. I'm not saying Mark Glowinski is great or he's elite, but he knows what he's supposed to do. He's been in the system for a few years. Like he had a stint in New York, I believe, but then he came back. So having Mark Glowinski as a backup guard is what I would prefer, as opposed to bringing in someone who doesn't know the system or bringing in a young guy to have to develop. And, I would feel a lot more comfortable if, God forbid, something happens to Quentin Nelson, he's got to miss a game. We can just throw Mark Lewinsky in there for a game or two and feel okay. Like, obviously, you'd rather have Quentin Nelson there, but you would feel okay with Mark Lewinsky there. So, Mark Lewinsky, we're going to keep him. Dio Adebango. I know I'm saying that name wrong, but this is kind of a tough one for me. There's a part of me that wants to keep him because of the traits that he has, his size, speed, explosiveness. He just didn't have the consistency. Now, I don't know if that's on him or if that's on Gus Bradley not playing him enough. I feel like if he got more playing time, he would be more productive. So if you told me that he would get a little bit more play time and get a little bit more opportunities to go out there and make plays, I would lean yes. I'm going to see what his market value is. I'm actually curious. Ooh, $60 million. Wow. So he might be a coveted free agent. So I think for him, I think I would still like to bring him back. I just don't think you can have too many pass rushers and defensive linemen. We saw in the Super Bowl how important the front four is, and if Dio can be, if he can, even if he's just like a third down pass rush specialist, like just anything, if he can be any kind of production as far as what his traits show, then I say bring him back. I think I'm good on bringing him back. So we got a yes. Finally, we got 2 yeses in a row for Mark Lewinsky and Dio. Now, this next guy, if you told me that the Colts they will lose every free agent that we have, but they can keep this one guy, I would be fine with that. This is the only guy I think that is worth keeping. And if you actually search his name on social media, on Twitter, on, NFL, YouTube, or anything like that, he's one of the few players where you will see multiple different teams saying, hey, we need to target this guy, or hey, this guy could be a guy that we could use. He would be a day one starter here. He would be a guy that would, upgrade this position. Now, before we get into that, you've made it this far. Make sure you guys like the video. Drop a comment. How do you feel about the free agents? Do you want to keep some of these guys, or are you fine letting them go? Who do you want us to keep, and who are you fine with the Colts letting walk? So the most important free agent that we have in Indianapolis right now is Will Fries, the right guard. Like, he was a 7th round pick, and he has developed, according to PFF last year, he was the 4th ranked guard in the NFL, and he only allowed like 2 sacks. His PFF grade was a 86.9, so we'll just round that up to an 87. Pass blocking grade is 75. Run blocking grade an 85. Like, he was one of the best guards in the NFL. So if you have Tanner Bornolini, Quentin Nelson, and Will Fries in the middle, that helps Anthony Richardson have a clean pocket to step into. That helps Jonathan Taylor when it comes to the running game. Like, having those front 3 positions solidified and having those be filled with elite players, because Quentin Nelson's still elite. Will Fries played like an elite player, and Tanner Bornolini played like a good player. But with that just makes everything easier for the quarterback, for the running backs, for the offense in general. You can trust him in one-on-one pass blocking. You can rely on him to run behind him on, short down gains or quarterback sneaks or dive plays. You can trust that, like, all right, we don't always have to go behind Quentin Nelson. Like, obviously, you want to go behind Quentin Nelson because you can rely on him and you can trust him, but you can also switch it up and change it up and be like, hey, we can run behind Will Fries and still get what we need to get. I don't know what I'm going to look at his market value just to look at it, but honestly, it could say $100 million, and I'd still say sign him. I don't care what the number is, but we're just going to look at it. $14 million, run it up. Put the Fries in the bag, or give Fries the bag, Chris Ballard, whichever one you want to call it. Like, I don't care. That is, like, I don't want him walking out of the door. I don't want him leaving Indianapolis. I don't want him leaving the facility. Whatever it takes to keep Will Fries. If you got to tell Ryan Kelly to kick rocks, tell Ryan Kelly to kick rocks. You got to Joe Flacco, whoever, I don't care. Will Fries cannot leave this team at all because I have searched his name. A lot of fan bases want him. A lot of fan bases want him, and they're willing. And the teams that want him is like the Steelers, the Giants. I think maybe I can't remember the other teams, but there are a lot of teams that would want him and that would overpay for him. So whatever, this is the one time where I want Chris Ballard to spend money on our players. None of these other players that I talked about, all these players that I've talked about as free agents, none of those players matter if we lose Will Fries. This is the guy. He cannot leave. This is priority number one. If we cannot solidify the the offensive line, especially that middle part of the line, that is going to hinder Anthony Richardson's development, and that is going to hurt our running game. That is going to hurt our pass protection, and that is going to hurt this team overall. So whatever it is, his market value is $14 million. Give him $14 million. If he says that's not enough, offer him $16 million. Do not let him have the opportunity to go to another team and get another deal. Just, if he keeps saying no, then just up the price. I don't care. Like, I do not care. I do not care. Do whatever it takes to get Will Fries. Keep Will Fries in Indianapolis. That's the only thing that matters. The only one. Okay? So now that we've gone through that, I'm going to quickly go over Chris Ballard. I'm going to really stick on Chris Ballard's press conference that he had pre-combine. And the one thing that sticks out, and Shane Steichen kind of brought it up too, is the fact that they're bringing in competition for Anthony Richardson. And that seems to be the main topic of conversation with this team this offseason is, they're bringing in competition for Anthony Richardson. This is Anthony Richardson's last chance. He's going into his third year. He's got to be able to do it this year. If not, he's out of here. He's out of the league. He's not going to make it. They're bringing in competition. Who's going to be the potential guy? And we did it. We're going to, at this point, it's either out or we're going to put out. We kind of did a video about all the backups that the Colts should bring in to compete with Anthony Richardson. And for me, I have no problem with them bringing in competition, like a guy who can push Anthony and kind of really set the tone and be like, hey, you just can't, you're just not just going to walk and just do whatever you want and expect to still be the starter no matter what. I am fine with that. What I'm not fine with is the idea that he is the only one that is publicly being challenged like this. Like, he's the one where it's like, Anthony Richardson needs competition, so we're going to bring in some quarterbacks, or we might draft a guy to come push him in the quarterback room. We don't talk about that with any other position on this team. We saw what E.J. Speed and Zaire Franklin did as a starting linebacker duo. Yeah, they made a lot of tackles, but they also missed a lot of tackles. They also gave up a lot of 200-yard rushing games to average running backs. I did not hear a lot of talk of, we need to bring in competition to challenge E.J. Speed. We need to bring in a guy to challenge Zaire Franklin. I didn't hear a lot of that talk. You know, you look at our tight end room. We talked about this previously. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, Ogletree, Will Mallory. If you took all their stats, catches, receptions, and touchdowns, and compared that to the catches, touchdowns, and yards to Kyle Pitts by himself had more catches, yards, and touchdowns than all of our tight ends. I have yet to hear any coach or GM say, we need to bring in a tight end to challenge Ogletree. We need to bring in a tight end to challenge Will Mallory. I don't hear any of that stuff. That's not the narrative that's being pushed out there. And yes, I understand it. As a quarterback, as a franchise guy, as a top 5 overall pick, the pressure is on you. You are the face of the franchise. You are expected to live, breathe, eat, sleep being a quarterback. It matters a whole lot. It is the most important position in sports, and you have to take it seriously. Like, literally, that's all you can think about. That's all you can think about. That's all you can focus on is getting better, making sure your teammates are better in the playbook, in the film room, talking to coaches, practicing footwork, arm talent practice, like everything. Like, you should wake up and think about, how can I be a better quarterback today? How can I be a better leader today? How can I help my team today? And before you go to sleep, tomorrow, how can I do all these things? Or what did I do today to improve? Obviously, those are the things that you have to think about as a quarterback. So obviously, when you don't live up to those expectations and you get benched for not living up to those expectations, people are going to talk about it, and that's going to be the focal point. And I get that. But Anthony Richardson is 20. He'll be 23. No, he'll be 22. He'll be 22 years old next year. He'll be 22 years old. He has less than 400 career passes as an NFL starter. He hasn't played. He's only played, I think, like 17 complete games as an NFL starter. But he's the guy that needs to show up and prove and earn his position. Not Zaire Franklin, who's been in the league for almost 10 years, who's a captain, who's on his 3rd contract. Not Mo Alley Cox. None of these other guys need to step up and earn to keep their position. But the young guy does. And I get it. He's the quarterback. That position is important. But I just don't like how it's being framed that he's the only one that needs to be challenged. His position is the only one that is up for grabs. And he's the one that has to earn his spot. So I would just like to keep an eye on that. But at the end of the day, Will Fries. If Chris Ballard lets Will Fries walk out of that door, I don't know what I'm going to do. The video that I put out, the amount of fire and vitriol and anger that will be sent Chris Ballard's way will be ungodly. But positive vibes. Will Fries will be here next year. He will spend the rest of his career here, and it'll be, Will Fries, Tanner Bonerlini, Quentin Nelson, just building a fucking wall right there in the middle. And that's positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you guys feel about Anthony Richardson's portrayal in the media by the GM and the head coach? Which free agents are you good with us keeping? Which ones do you want us to let walk out the door? Let me know in the comments. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment. I will love you forever. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.